Policy briefings to President Lee Jae-myung continue, with today's garnering attention as they focus on the justice system reform to diversify the prosecution center system. Plus, the Foreign Affairs and Unification Ministries share their vision to the president. As widely expected, the Bank of Japan raises its short-term key interest rate from 0.5% to 0.75%, its highest rate in 30 years. We break it down and see what this means for South Korea amid a weakened won. It's the most wonderful time of the year, with Christmas less than a week away. What's in line for events for this year's holiday season in South Korea? We have our culture correspondent to help us finish the year strong. Good evening, welcome to Newscenter. We begin with the policy briefing. South Korea's justice system is facing a major overhaul as the government presses ahead with sweeping prosecutorial reform. President Lee Jae-myung and justice officials laid out a roadmap during a live policy briefing on Friday, addressing both institutional change and concerns over maintaining public trust. Our Moon Arirang starts us off.
Prosecutorial reform took center stage at Friday's live broadcast policy briefing by the Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Prosecutor's Office, with President Lee Jae-myung opening the session by stressing the fundamental role of the law enforcement system in upholding the nation's legal order.
국가의 법 질서 유지를 위해서 국가 공권력을 최종적으로 행사하는 매우 중요한 기관입니다. 그렇기 때문에 최대한 절차적으로 정당해야 되고 결과도 역시 정당해야 됩니다.
Following the president's remarks, the Justice Minister pledged to push ahead with prosecutorial reform in line with public expectations, vowing to carry out institutional changes without setbacks.
We will actively support the work of the Prosecutorial Reform Task Force under the Prime Minister's Office to ensure that the ongoing establishment of the Prosecution Office and the Serious Crimes Investigation Office proceeds smoothly, while also preventing any weakening of the state's overall capacity to respond to crime.
The minister added that prosecutors' roles would shift away from investigations and toward broader public interest functions, including recovering criminal proceeds, strengthening international criminal justice cooperation, supporting international legal and trade matters, and representing the public interest in litigation. The Supreme Prosecutor's Office, in its own briefing, said it has already reduced the overall volume of investigations to focus resources on cases directly affecting people's livelihoods.
We have made every effort to strictly punish crimes that undermine people's livelihoods, including serious industrial accidents and price-fixing cases involving essential goods.
Looking ahead, he said prosecutors will intensify efforts to confiscate illegal profits from mass victim crimes like voice phishing and swiftly return them to victims, while developing technologies to detect and analyze emerging crimes involving artificial intelligence and deepfakes, and expanding prosecutors' public interest roles. Under the Lee administration's reform blueprint, the prosecution-led system would be dismantled through a full separation of investigation and prosecution. Prosecutors would lose direct investigative powers and focus on indictments and maintaining prosecutions under a new prosecution office within the Justice Ministry, while serious crimes would be investigated by a newly created Serious Crimes Investigation Office and the police as primary investigative bodies. With the abolition of the Supreme Prosecutor's Office scheduled for October next year, eyes are on how the administration translates its reform blueprint into a functioning criminal justice system. Moon Arirang, Arirang News.
Now, President Lee Jae-myung had another policy briefing from the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Unification. He took the chance to reveal his vision on diplomacy and North Korea policy. Our top office correspondent Yoon Jung-min reports.
남북 관계를 요새 제가 들여다보면 그런 느낌이 들어요. 진짜 원수가 된 것 같습니다.
This was how President Lee Jae-myung said he viewed the current mood on the peninsula, as he was briefed on Friday by the chiefs in charge of foreign affairs and North Korea policy.
북한이 전 분계선에 걸쳐서 삼중 철책을 치고 다리를 끊고 도로를 끊고 옹벽을 쌓고 이런 경우가 처음이라는 겁니다. 수십 년 만에. 북한은 혹시 남쪽이 북침하지 않을까 이 걱정을 해가지고.
He said that political motivation is to blame, mentioning the hardline approach by the previous administration. With Pyongyang rejecting outright calls for dialogue, Lee called for efforts by the Unification Ministry.
남북 간에 소통하고 또 대화하고 협력하고 공존 공영의 길을 가야 되는데 지금은 바늘구멍 하나도 여지가 없습니다. 인내심을 가지고 선제적으로 주도적으로 남북 간의 적대가 완화될 수 있도록.
The Unification Minister stressed the need to relieve sanctions against the North.
In reality, sanctions against North Korea have become ineffective. The backyard for trade with China, which accounts for 90% of its trade, is widely open, and the North sees sanctions as the most hostile act.
On diplomacy surrounding the peninsula,
Next year, we will make sure to hold another South Korea-U.S. summit in a timely manner and reaffirm follow-up measures to what's been agreed at the top level, in particular in nuclear-powered submarines, nuclear energy, and shipbuilding.
the foreign minister added that arrangements will be made for President Lee's state visit to China early next year and vowed to continue top-level diplomacy with Japan. President Lee also instructed his officials to speed up introducing mail-in and electronic voting systems for overseas Koreans.
비행기 타고 무슨 6시간 가서 투표를 했니 무슨 차 타고 1박 2일로 가서 투표를 했니 그러고 있잖아요. 그러지 않게 해야죠. 어쨌든 그건 국가의 책임이라고 생각이 됩니다.
When it comes to public access to information, he was critical of the government restricting South Koreans' access to North Korea's state media Dodong Shinmun, saying that granting the access wouldn't make people turn into communists or pro-North Koreans. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
The Overseas Korean Agency has laid out its blueprint for 2026, aiming to overhaul how South Korea supports its 7.5 million strong diaspora. And this includes both Korean nationals living overseas and foreign citizens who have Korean background. From a new digital database to ID numbers for ethnic Koreans living overseas, the focus is on practical changes. Our Cha Yun-kyung has the details.
Entering its third year, the Overseas Koreans Agency is shifting gears, moving from simple support to a more systematic, data-driven approach. Commissioner Kim Kyung-hyo unveiled the agency's 2026 work plan, emphasizing the need for a comprehensive digital diaspora database.
The environment surrounding diaspora policy is by no means easy. We lack a systematic understanding of the status of our compatriots worldwide, and institutional limitations still prevent citizens abroad from fully exercising their sovereign rights.
A key hurdle has been identifying and supporting foreign nationals of Korean descent who are eligible for support from the agency because of their heritage. To bridge this gap, the agency is reviewing a new authentication system.
We plan to review an overseas Korean authentication system for foreign nationals. By assigning a unique ID number, we can link them to support standards and online services, enabling systematic policy assistance.
As for 2026 as a whole, on top of solidifying the policy foundation through the new diaspora database and enhancing practical rights, it also prioritizes strengthening global networks, expanding inclusive policies for returnees, and finally, overhauling the pan-government framework to streamline support. Another major project is the inclusive returnee policy, something the agency has been focusing on since its foundation. This initiative targets ethnic Koreans from historical migration backgrounds, such as Koryoin and Sakhalin Koreans, viewing their successful settlement not just as welfare, but as a boost to national competitiveness. As of the end of 2024, more than 860,000 ethnic Koreans have moved to Korea from their respective countries, staying with the special visa for them.
The state will never forget those who contributed to the motherland during its darkest times. We will strengthen support for their stable settlement and heal historical wounds through continued policy consideration.
The agency is looking into boosting resettlement support through education and job training. It aims to finalize these systems by 2026, turning the diaspora policy into a key driver for South Korea's future. 차윤경, Arirang News.
In Japan, the central bank has raised its benchmark interest rate to its highest since 1995 as part of efforts to rein in inflation. Park Jun-han covers the rise and its potential ripple effects.
As widely expected, the Bank of Japan on Friday decided to raise its short-term key interest rate from 0.5% to 0.75%. This 0.25 percentage point increase is the first since the bank raised its key rate in January this year, and is also the first since Sanai Takaichi became Japan's prime minister in October. The decision puts Japan's current key rate at its highest level in 30 years and 3 months. The Bank of Japan raised rates citing the likelihood of wages and prices continuing to rise moderately. A Japanese interest rate decision has a big impact on global asset markets, as a rise can cause what is called a yen carry trade unwind, meaning that investors stop borrowing cheap Japanese yen to buy high-yield foreign assets.
Japan has long maintained ultra-low, even negative, interest rates. This allowed investors to borrow cheaply in Japan and invest overseas, earning profits even from simple deposits. The so-called yen carry trade was widely used by global funds, including in South Korea. But as rates rise, borrowing capacity shrinks, and existing trades lose profitability. That could trigger asset sell-offs, leading to sharp declines in asset prices and higher interest rates.
Another economics professor also pointed to the potential impact on South Korea's asset markets.
Low-interest yen loans that flowed overseas could start to unwind. Funds would likely move out of markets like South Korea and back into Japan. That could pressure Korean stocks and trigger sell-offs in Korean bonds, so the impact on Korea's financial markets could be significant.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Japan has stated that it could raise interest rates further if prices rise steadily above 2% and wages also increase. It believes current monetary conditions remain supportive and plans to gradually adjust policy in response to price and economic developments to ensure the stable achievement of its inflation target. Park Jun-han, Arirang News.
Now in South Korea, producer prices, which suggest future inflation trends, rose for the third consecutive month in November. This was largely driven by the weak Korean won and strong demand for semiconductors. So how are prices that businesses charge consumers in the coming months affected? Our Ian Jin has the answers.
As the Korean won remains weak and demand for semiconductors is strong, producer prices in November rose for the third consecutive month. According to preliminary data released by the Bank of Korea on Friday, the producer price index recorded 121.31 for November. This marks a 0.3% gain month-on-month, following a 0.4% increase in September and 0.3% in October. Producer prices are a statistical measure of price changes in goods and services supplied by local producers to the domestic market, which is why it serves as a key indicator of future consumer inflation. Data showed prices of agricultural, forestry, and fishery products, in fact, fell 2.1% in November from the previous month, while gas, water, and electricity prices also dropped 0.4%. However, prices of industrial goods rose 0.8% month-on-month. Those of computers, electronic, and optical equipment increased 2.3%. And coal and petroleum products rose 5%. The 5% jump was the largest since September 2023, when prices jumped 6.9%. The head of the BOK's price statistics team, Lee Moon-hee, explained that although global crude oil prices fell, the appreciation of the won against the dollar and rising refining costs combined to drive petroleum products prices higher. He further explained the impact of the exchange rate on producer prices, as increases in the prices of imported raw materials or intermediate items can raise domestic production costs, thereby indirectly causing upward pressure on producer prices. The data showed the domestic supply price index, which accounts for both producer and import prices, added 0.7% month-on-month in November. 이은진, Arirang News.
Trade between North Korea and China rebounded in November to its highest level in 6 years. North Korean monitoring website NK News, citing the Chinese Customs Service reported that bilateral trade hit $281 million last month. This amount is the highest since October 2019, when trade totaled $287 million. China exported various machinery to the regime in recent months, including medical devices and agricultural machinery. Notably, a vehicle banned from being traded under UN Security Council resolutions was also found to have been transferred to North Korea. Christmas is just around the corner, less than a week to go, making it the perfect time to soak up the winter atmosphere. Downtown Seoul is packed with winter events. And if you want to know more, we have our culture correspondent Park Geonu in the studio. Who else would we ask? Happy Friday, Geonu.
Happy Friday, Doyan.
Now, take it away for us, please.
So, Doyan, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
I had a feeling you were going to do
that. Next week's already Christmas, and we're heading to the very end of 2025. And to help people unwind and enjoy the season, Seoul has prepared many enjoyable events, and I visited 2 of them myself just yesterday. So why don't you all follow me as I invite you to this magical world. Long lines, but no complaints. Only smiles and anticipation. People patiently wait near Gwanghwamun Square in central Seoul, as if something magical is about to happen. As visitors pass through the entrance, the scene feels like stepping into a Christmas fairy tale. As soon as the sun goes down, the Christmas market lights turn on. Christmas is nearly here, and people are enjoying the Christmas vibe. The most popular spot is this 50-meter landmark Christmas tree, where people take nice pictures and make long-lasting memories with their loved ones. Inside the market, it's bustling with visitors, while hundreds of vendors sell everything from Christmas goods to local handmade items, including Rudolph-shaped candles, colorful wrapping cloths, and traditional lucky pouches. Photo spots are everywhere, like this merry-go-round, which is especially popular with families with children.
It really feels like Christmas and is such a nice experience. There's so much for the kids to enjoy: the merry-go-round, photo spots, and even small things to buy.
An interesting twist for them is that these shops change every week through the end of the month, giving visitors a magical chance to discover something new each time they come.
Winter is usually the off-season here, especially at night. But tourists still need things to see and enjoy after dark. That's why we created this, and we plan to expand it even further.
There are visitors from across the globe, such as European tourists, familiar with traditional Christmas markets back home.
We didn't realize that Christmas is quite so popular here. I certainly wasn't expecting to see a Christmas market. It's absolutely beautiful. The light show was fantastic. Everyone seems really happy.
As night falls, the lights become even more dazzling. And the celebration doesn't stop here. Just a short walk away, Cheonggyecheon Stream is glowing with its light festival, running through early January. The displays are made of Korean traditional paper hanji, featuring illuminated sculptures that blend tradition with modern design. One standout is the Pokemon character Magikarp, as it's gone viral on social media, drawing even more visitors. Together, the Gwanghwamun Market and Cheonggyecheon Light Festival have already attracted around 1.5 million visitors in just over a week. Due to high popularity, operating hours have recently been extended by around an hour, and the Seoul Tourism Organization now aims to welcome 6 million visitors this season. And thanks to all of that, downtown Seoul's winter nights are feeling much warmer, brighter, and just a little more magical than ever before.
Right, that sounds like a fun event. Now, one of the interviewees said this, but why is Christmas so popular here in South Korea?
Right, that's what I've been wondering as well. So Christmas markets have been, gaining popularity in recent years, and one expert explains what's behind the trend.
As cultural globalization grows, more people are becoming familiar with Christmas traditions, boosting the appeal of related events. And today, travel doesn't always mean going far. as everyday spaces can offer new cultural experiences close to home.
But he added that more can be done to make the market more welcoming to a wider audience.
To be more meaningful, markets need to go beyond shopping. Hands-on experiences, like games and food making, can turn visitors into active participants.
And he added that incorporating K-content such as K-pop themes could help create a Christmas market experience unique to Korea, especially for visitors from abroad.
Right, Kanu. And I heard there are more events in Seoul other than the ones you just showed us. Please do tell us more about them.
Yeah, absolutely. So more winter events kicked off just yesterday across the city. At Hangang River Parks, a new snow sled park has opened, running through mid-February. Locations include Yeouido in central Seoul and Tuksum in the east of the city. For details, viewers can check the website now as you see on the screen. There's also a large Christmas market near Tuksum Hangang Park, offering ornament-making activities and Christmas choir performances on Christmas Eve and also Christmas Day. And an outdoor ice rink opened today at Seoul Plaza with admission costing less than $1. It's an affordable way to enjoy winter, especially if you're a big fan of ice skating. And I also want to recommend the New Year's Eve bell ringing ceremony at Bosinggak Pavilion, located in Jongno-gu District, downtown Seoul, where large crowds gather on the last day of each year to wait for the bell ringing 33 times at midnight just to welcome the new year.
Right, we do cover that live here from Arirang. And, well, Kanu, hope you've been a good boy this year. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. And I hope you were also a good boy. I'm here as well.
I'm all right, I'm all right.
All right, have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
It was a cold start with sub-zero temperatures in several areas this morning. However, with warmer southern winds in the middle of the day, temperatures climbed up quickly. Seoul warmed up to 11 degrees Celsius today and it will be just as mild tomorrow. However, rain is forecast all over the country tomorrow, starting from the west early in the morning and spreading to eastern parts of the country. While not much rainfall is expected, with temperatures dropping on Sunday, there could be some icy roads. Tomorrow morning, Seoul will start off at 9 degrees, Gwangju at 8 degrees. Daily highs will rise up to 11 degrees in Seoul, just like today, 17 degrees in Daegu. The temperature in Seoul will plummet sharply to -5 degrees on Monday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That's all for this Friday evening. Hope you have a great weekend.